him, and Alistair Camp as well from 12th in the number 45 car. He should make some progress, but the first lap or so of these races tends to be a little bit manic, so we'll try and keep up with all of the positional changes if we can. We'll worry about points later. For now, though, let's get them off the line, because the green flag is waved at the back of the grid. It's a short and sharp 15-minute race, this, the penultimate round of the Disc Lock Civic Cup for 2019. With Lee Deegan and Daniel Reason on the front row of the grid, the lights go out now, away they go, and it's an even start from both of them. It looks as though maybe Reason has his nose in front, there's contact further back, and off into the pit wall go two cars. We'll try and identify them in a moment. Not a huge hit, but it will more than likely be the end of their races. The lead will be held by Deegan, though, with Reason second place, everyone else trying to get into the first corner in one piece, which they don't, because off into the grass goes Mike Ballantyne, I think that is, isn't it, in the number 60 car? Yes, it is. So Mike Ballantyne beaches himself in the gravel trap. David Buki here side by side for third position, and this is what I meant on cold tyres. The rear of the car stepping out, and David Buki is sideways in front of everybody, down into the old hairpin. Did he hold it? I think he did, but that was a brilliant demonstration of what a lack of rear tyre temperature will do for you in one of these cars. Lots of sideways stuff from several drivers in the opening few corners. The temperatures still will be coming up now, so they're still a little bit tentative on turning. Buki in particular, I'm sure, after that moment, he was fighting, and that was in third place, I think, when he had that moment. He was dropped down into fifth now. They head up to Coppice Corner, another spin now. That's Terry Taylor from the back row of the grid. In fact, he was last on the grid, who's had a moment up at McLean's. Whether that was self-induced or not, I'm not sure, but you'd imagine at this early stage there was probably some contact involved somewhere along the line. The 37 is Bruce Winfield, and I think he's come through into a third position there, the first of the orange and black cars, followed by Jason Ballantyne. So, as I suspected, the order at the end of the opening lap bears very little resemblance to the grid, with the exception of the top two. Deegan and Reason from the front row are still first and second respectively. In third position then is Bruce Winfield. Then in fourth position at the end of the opening lap is Jason Ballantyne. Fifth, David Boogie. Sixth place then for number 24, which is Ben Sharp, who's dropped down from fourth on the grid. Seventh place for number 26, which is Morgan Bailey, which is actually where he started. And eighth position for Daniel Hobson. So that's all shuffled around quite a bit in the first lap. Lots of positional changes. Championship-wise, well, Daniel Reason was the man that is second in the championship, but he's second in the race at the moment, so that's working out nicely for him. Jason Ballantyne made progress and had to, because he's third in the championship, gets himself into fourth place in the race. And then it was Daniel Hobson who was fourth place in the championship. He's been the big loser because he's all the way down in 8th place. So we need to keep an eye then on number 25, Daniel Hobson, because he should be able to pick his way through from the 8th place in which he started the lap. I don't think he's gained anything on this one either yet, so Daniel Hobson needs to maybe go on the attack a little bit here. Bruce Winfield we're looking at in third position with the headlights ablaze, then Ballantyne and Buki. The rest of them streaming through to the completion of lap number 1. Any changes of the order? Doesn't look like it, no. Top 8 or 10 come through and there's no change. So Daniel Hobson's still stuck in 8th position, and he's at the back of this little train, is he not? 25, there he goes, I think, through the right-hander at Redgate Corner, which is under double-waved yellows because there's a live snatch underway to retrieve Mike Ballantyne's stricken car. Amazingly, I think he's the only car that needs recovering, because everybody else, the two drivers that tangled on the start line, have been able to continue. Who else did we lose on the opening lap? 133, I think was involved. That was Andy Hart. That would make sense because he was mid-grid. That's where it all kicked off, wasn't it? And possibly Sam Nicolao. Yeah, I think it will have been, because they were 14th for Hart and 11th for Nicolao, so they were together-ish on the grid. So I think they might have been the two that were in the pit wall at the start. But, they have, by the looks of it, both been able to continue into the race. Actually, the only retirement we've got at the moment is Mike Ballantyne, who has no damage on the car, but is stuck in the gravel. So sturdy things, these Civics, and they withstand a little bit of contact here and there, even if it's with a concrete pit wall. The gaps then at the front of the field are, let's have a little look at what the lead gap was. It was 1.9 seconds. It is now bigger, 2.1. The end of lap number 3, so Lee Deegan's getting away from Daniel Reason, who is also getting away from Bruce Winfield. So the gaps are stretching at the very front of the field. Close battle going on, though, for 6th position there between Sharp and Bailey. First two cars to go through, and there's Daniel Hobson, white and blue number 25 car. So just behind him is Paul Taylor, 5. Hobson can't really afford to lose any more places, but he looks more likely to lose a position than gain one, doesn't he? So He's struggling a little bit here for pace. Oh, and off the road. That was always going to go wrong, and that is Bailey that's gone off into the gravel at the old hairpin. And Morgan Bailey's race, well, will it be done? Oh, it will be now, because whilst he found some traction initially, he's then snowploughed the front of the car into the gravel, and it is well and truly stuck now. So Morgan Bailey's got a wheel on the grass there going out of the left-hand part of the Craner curves. That grass is wet, very wet, yielding not much grip. And so off he went. So Bailey from 7th goes off. That gains a place for Hobson, having a similar issue. Under yellow flags, might I add, is number 30, Sam Linsner. So Sam Linsner, from towards the back of the grid, he was 19th at the time. Has also had a spin by looks of it down at the old hairpin in what looked like a similar manner. The leaders again. Now is the gap between 2nd and 3rd coming down this time. Reason to Winfield was 1.4 seconds. They come through at the completion of lap number 4, and it's 0.9 because Bruce Winfield, the orange and black number 37 in 3rd place, has set the fastest lap of the race now. A 1:19.53 is the time. And that is a good lap time actually. That would have put him 3rd on the grid. That's how competitive that was. So no, 2nd on the grid is good for Daniel Lucas the time qualifying actually. Side by side there, that's Alistair Camp losing. Trying to go around the outside of Max Lewis. Didn't go around the outside, gets to the inside instead, but there's a yellow flag out and has to bail out of it. We've got cars stricken down here at the old hairpin, of course. A car anyway. Overtaking allowed in the yellow flag zone. So that's a shame for Alistair Camp, because that looked like a well thought out move, but it didn't work for him. So Hobson then moves up a place with the demise of Morgan Bailey. So too does everybody else, of course, though. So Hobson, Taylor, Rose, Lewis, Camp all picked up one spot as a result of the off for Bailey at the old hairpin. Mr. Camp, though, trying to pick his way past Max Lewis now if he can. Looks a bit quicker. So he hasn't really had the pace this weekend, Alistair Camp, down in 12th position. Alistair 7th in the points, so he is one of these drivers in contention for the 2nd place of the title. Had a win in round 6 of the year, so Alistair has had a strong season generally, but has also had finishes with low points, which have unfortunately racked up as the year's gone on, so he's not been in championship contention for most of the year, but he is now in contention to maybe move into this position that he's been trying to get for a little while, but there's a car coming out of the pit lane there, which again rather got in midway, so Alistair Camp still can't get into the top 10. Place at the moment, still yellow flags out through the Craners and the old hairpin then. Lots of screeching tyres as they race down the Craner curves into the old hairpin halfway through the race now. Then 7.5 minutes gone, 7.5 minutes still to go. Lee Deegan is now 2.3 seconds clear in front of him, but Bruce Winfield has almost caught now Daniel Reason for 2nd place. So that could be the next battle we turn our attention to, as close as this one is. We haven't yet seen a move from Alistair Camp, but 2nd place is now getting equally as close, really. There they are, look, right on cue, and Bruce Winfield now, can he get this 2nd place away? This would have championship implications as far as this fight for 2nd in the championship. Reason, as I said, is in 2nd in the championship at 191. Bruce Winfield is on 169 in 5th, so he needs every point he can get. He's 22 points behind Hobson, but obviously you score a few more points for finishing 2nd than you do for 3rd, so Winfield will go for this if he can, and if nothing else he could be able to move into the top 5 in points at the expense of people like Daniel Hobson, for example, who's still struggling down in 7th. David Buki hasn't been able to get past Jason Ballantyne for 4th either, so it's been reasonably static actually those last few laps. Lee Deegan's nicked the fastest lap away now, so he's done a 1:19.257. A quarter of a second or so off his pole position time. It's not bad for race conditions. Run then up the hill again, and where does the move come from Bruce Winfield? Well, here it is. He looks up the inside into McLean's. There's a puff of tyre smoke as he locks up the inside front wheel. Couldn't quite force the issue, but he has, I think, applied the pressure to Daniel Reason now to the extent that Daniel is maybe driving a bit more defensively than he'd like to. Certainly driving a bit more defensively than he'd like to. He'd rather not have to defend at all, but if he keeps on doing this, there's every chance he might leave the door open at some point. Ironically, the more you defend, the more likely you are to make a mistake and just almost allow the other car through without a fight. So this is tense stuff now for Daniel Reason through the chicane. Onto the pit straight again, and Daniel Reason with Bruce Winfield less than a car length behind him now for 2nd place. He's in the tow, he's got the headlights on, he pulls to his left, our right, going into Redgate corner. Daniel Reason just eases across, not in front of him, not throwing a block, but just easing him towards the edge of the road, but then he runs out wide anyway, and Winfield gets the run out of Redgate corner, and that should now be it, because the yellow flags are in at the Crane of Curves. He's muscling his way through, but Daniel Reason trying to stand his ground. He'll have the inside line for the left-hander. This is really, really dangerous stuff. They make contact, and off goes Bruce Winfield. He's spinning, going the wrong way down the Crane of Curves, and off into the gravel trap goes Bruce Winfield. Now, can he dig his way out? He needs to try. He might be able to do it. No, the same thing happens again, and Bruce Winfield is out of the race and will be furious with the way in which that worked out. He finally got himself alongside cleanly, but running side by side through the Crane of Curves is not always the most sensible of things to do, especially when it's a bit cold out there. They haven't got the grip in the tyres they'd like, and Winfield is out of the race and now surely out of the hunt for second place in the championship. And immediately, I want to hear what Daniel Reason's opinion of that is afterwards. If he finishes on the podium, let's try and get Bryn to ask that question, because that will be discussed after the race, I'm sure. So Reason then second, Winfield out of the race, which means that Jason Ballantyne now moves into a podium place. Now, actually, that's not hugely beneficial for Daniel Reason, because Bruce Winfield was 5th in the championship. Ballantyne is actually his nearest rival. He's 3rd in the championship, so that's benefited the man who is closest to him in the points, albeit there are 8 points between them. Of course, that is still on the up here, because as we know, Reason is ahead of Ballantyne by actually 2.3 seconds right now. Ballantyne is he's always had company from David Buki in this race, but he's now also got company from Ben Sharp. He's the 3rd car in this trio. Head down the Craners. Sharp, on the previous lap, did a 1 minute 20.0, which was a full second quicker than Ballantyne and Buki, who will have slowed down, no doubt, when they saw the contact in front of them at the Crane Curves, and they may have also been holding each other up, rather. They're also being caught now by Daniel Hobson, who's caught a bit of a second wind here. There he is, look, the white and blue cars, and Daniel Hobson, like David Buki, like Jason Ballantyne, they're all in this fight for second in the championship, and they're all together as they head out of the right-hander at Copper, excuse me. And really, it's only Sharp that doesn't particularly have to worry about points, because he's all the way down in 14th, having not done a full season. So Sharp can sort of afford to take a few more risks here, but equally won't want to influence the battle for championship positions too much. But through they come then, 4 of them together now, and they're being caught by Paul Taylor as well into Redgate corner, and here comes the move maybe from Hobson up the inside. Does he commit? He tries to, and Hobson just eases his way alongside. The yellow flags are still out there at the Crane of Curves, and he hasn't completed the move yet. I don't think there's going to be a real debate as to who was in front as they went into the yellow flag zone, but I think that Sharp is going to let him go now. Hobson, whether intentionally or not, runs wide through the left-hand part of the Craners and drops back in behind, but that would have been, that's probably for the best, because that would definitely have been reviewed after the race, because of course you're not allowed to overtake in the yellow flag zone. It's always tricky though when you start making a move as you go into the yellow flag zone, and you're wondering whether you've completed it in time, because there's no specific cut-off point as such. It's just as you sort of vaguely arrive at the marshal's post that has the flag out, that's when you cease racing. And possibly open to interpretation, you could say. David Buki then now getting spurred on by the arrival of more and more cars in his mirrors to try and get past Jason Ballantyne here, who is starting to drive a bit more defensively. Now into the chicane they're going to go. 2 more laps remain in this race by the looks of it, so it's time for this to all change. Time for it to kick off as well, isn't it? Because they should get those yellow flags in hopefully before possibly in time for the last lap, so you should be able to overtake. They should be able to overtake them where they need to actually in the next lap or so. Here comes Buki on the inside into Redgate corner, but no, Ballantyne sees that one off. And turn through the right-hander, still in the same order. Ballantyne, Buki, Sharp, Hobson and Taylor. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th respectively. Personal best lap time, by the way, for Daniel Reason this time around, so he's getting away from this group. So Ballantyne is the cork in the bottle here, isn't he? He's not as quick as the 2 in front, and he's slowing down the group behind him by driving defensively. And David Buki is starting to make another run at him now out of the old hairpin. Gets in the tow. Bit of traffic there for Daniel Reason to deal with. That's the 17 car. Oh, and here comes the move on the inside, and David Buki, far from gaining a place, looks like he might lose one now, because up the inside goes Sharp, and that will prise the door open, and lots of other drivers can start going through as well now, including, critically, Daniel Hobson, who needs no second invitation, dives to the inside of David Buki, who's on the grass now, so wide as he's been forced through Coppice Corner, and I think Paul Taylor will go through too. So that was really a disaster, that, for David Buki. One car goes through, and he ends up losing potentially 3 places. Can Paul Taylor complete this move into the chicane? He gets sideways, and actually Buki, well, he tried to fight it, but there's a little recticel barrier on the apex of both parts of the chicane, actually, to stop him cutting the corner, and that rather narrows the line, so he had to give way in the end. So traffic now for the leaders. Well, they have dealt with it, in fact, and Lee Deegan looking good for, what's this now, 8th win of the season. Time has ticked down, we're on to the final lap of the race now, and Lee Deegan in truly dominant form this year. This is getting interesting. Alistair Camp up the inside of, is that Lewis, isn't it? Yeah, number 71. Also side-by-side action in the traffic here. So Max Lewis, that was, I think, finally losing out to Alistair Camp. Has he gone through? Yes, he has. So he's into the top 10 at long last. In fact, he was already 10th. That was for 9th position now, of course, after a couple have gone off the road in front, and Daniel Hobson nearly added to that list then. He was completely sideways through Schwann's Curve as he tries to pick up one more place and a couple more valuable championship points here. It's all so tight from 2nd to about 7th in the points that each of these positions does have some real significance. But, Sharp, of course, in front is not part of that championship battle, so he's going to get his elbows out here and try and defend if he can. Down to the last corner they go, across the line though for the penultimate victory in the penultimate race of the year, I should say, for Lee Deegan. Second will be Daniel Reason, and across the line comes the next group of cars, and it is going to be the same order as it was, I think, at the start of the lap. I'm pausing because Lee Deegan for a moment was not shown as the race winner on my timing screen, but he is the winner. Reason second, then it was Ballantyne, Sharp, Hobson, Taylor and Buki, the big loser there on that penultimate lap, with Alistair Camp into 8th actually by the flag. So he got ahead of Lewis and Rose actually by the end, so Max Lewis came home in 9th, 10th position then for number 81 Lewis Rose from 13th on the grid. 11th place then for Aaron Rose, and Oliver Barsby should come home next up in 12th position, which he has done now, and the rest of them all cycling through behind. That was a fantastic race though, wasn't it? And the fighting going on there for 3rd position was particularly intense, but it only became the fight for 3rd place after Bruce Winfield ended up in the gravel down at the old hairpin, and that, I think, will be the biggest talking point after that one, because that does have the potential to affect the championship battle, or the 2nd place championship battle. Not so much for Winfield, because he was an outside bet for that anyway in 5th position, but Daniel Reason in 2nd position in the championship was going into that race 8 points clear of Jason Ballantyne, who finished 1 position behind him. But Ballantyne actually incurred a 6-point penalty earlier on this year for a driving standards infringement. So if there were to be another one now that went the way potentially of Daniel Reason, I'm not suggesting that should be what happens, it's just it is a possibility, and that could have a real effect, of course, on their championship standings. So it's Lee Deegan then with the win by 6.5 seconds from Daniel Reason. Jason Ballantyne, Ben Sharp and Daniel Hobson are rounding out the top 5 ahead of Paul Taylor, David Buki, Alistair Camp, Max Lewis and Lewis Rose in 10th position. So a very tightly bunched though, as you can see. Then it was Aaron Rose and Oliver Barsby, George Alt Williams and Damien Harris 13th and 14th. Sam Nicolao, having started the race in the pit wall, that's not bad to get into the top 15 ahead of Paul McHugh and Rick Shortall. And then the rest, there were a couple of laps or 2 down. Mike Ballantyne was off, of course, at the start. Andy Hart never completed the first lap after his part in that contretemps at the start-finish line, but he was at least able to get himself out of the way. Rather angry-looking sky, that is, isn't it, in the background? So maybe we've got some rain on its way. Let's hope not, though, because we're enjoying racing here today in these dry conditions. The rain could spice things up nicely, wouldn't they, I suppose, for later races today. The Disc Lock Civic Cup has good value for money as always, and race won once again by Lee Deegan. It's a force of the unstoppable almost in the championship. But we have had, as always in Civic Cup, the wins sort of balanced out between quite a lot of drivers. He may have won now 8 races of the 13 that we've had, but we've also had wins for Daniel Reason, Jason Ballantyne, Daniel Hobson's had a win, and a couple of others as well. Yeah, David Buki, as I said, has had a win actually fairly recently. Alistair Camp also. So we've had about 5 or 6 different winners and a huge amount of drivers on the podium. It's been a hugely competitive season, and I'm sure that will continue into next year as well. The Disclock Civic Cup continues to be a very popular championship amongst drivers and spectators alike, and I think we just got a taste for why that is. So the cars have made their way back down into the pit lane. They will be chatting, or top 3 will be chatting to Bryn Lucas in a moment or two. I'm intrigued, as I said, to get Daniel Reason's thoughts on that contact that he had with Bruce Winfield, because that decided the fight for second place in the race, but will it have an impact on the fight for second in the championship? That's what we'll get confirmed for you if we can between races. So, a blustery day here at Donington Park, but that is at least blowing these clouds through, so I'm hoping we don't get any rain before that happens. But we've got one more race before lunch anyway, so after that we'll be into a bit of period where there's no action on the track. We will have our grid walk for the TCR UK race a bit later on as well, where we'll get down there and chat to a few of the drivers, possibly in the rain by the looks of it, but we'll wait to see what the weather gods have in store for us. Good crowd on hand as well this weekend, it must be said. This is nice to see there's a bit more interest around TCR UK here at the end of the season, and we've enjoyed some good racing today, not just from TCR but from the sport categories as well. So good to see a good number of people here enjoying themselves and enjoying one of the last opportunities to watch any motor racing actually at Donington Park this year. There's not too many race meetings left. It's hard to believe almost that we're in October already, halfway through it. So motor racing season sadly is coming to an end in the next few weeks, and the motor racing enthusiasts around the country all looking to try and get their last fix of racing action before the season is out. So, Civics then are done with. We're just waiting for the drivers to... It's like herding cats, I tell you. They always makes me laugh that racing drivers are so quick out on the track and they make decisions at lightning speed, but when they get out of those cars, it takes them an awfully long time to walk a relatively short distance from the cars to the podium. They've got there in the end, though, I'm glad to say, and we can now head down to Bryn Lucas with our top 3 finishers.
Well, the Disclock Civics always give us quite a lot of entertainment, and they certainly got a lot of that. When we think about that race there, one race winner ahead for the entire race, and nice and easy too. Let's just talk through it a little bit. So from your point of view, how did that work?
Well, Dan got a little bit of a better start than me, but I just managed to be a little bit later on the brakes, keep it nice and tidy through turn 1, and then let them scrap behind really. They're slowing each other down, obviously battling, and I'll just concentrate on my race and keep an eye on the pit board and keep the time nice and consistent, and yeah, just bring it home.
Now we're seeing quite a lot of back ends of these cars going out, which is quite tricky for a front wheel drive car. Is it fairly greasy? Is it more greasy out there than it looks from where we are right now?
Yes, it is, yeah. Quali yesterday was a lot more grippy, I thought. Down Craners it wasn't quite flat all the way, maybe a little break every now and then, and it was a lot damper on the top part of the circuit as well than I expected, and on the green flag lap I was quite surprised, to be fair. So yeah, the rain overnight has made things a little bit slippy, but it makes things exciting.
It certainly does, but for you in the championship, it's been a walk in the park.
I wouldn't say that. It's been a lot of hard work. We just never stop pushing ourselves, constantly trying to improve the car, constantly trying to improve my driving, and then just never settle for winning. Just keep pushing and pushing, because other people are going to improve and catch you, so we need to keep improving. So that's what I work on.
Lee, well done.
Thank you. Cheers.
Let's move to second place then, because Dan was really fighting hard, and fighting hard with somebody who didn't make it to the end. Dan, I want to get your thoughts on really what happened there between you and Bruce as well.
Into turn 1, I had a little bit of a moment, the car went sideways. Bruce ducked underneath us, got a bit of a run. But as we come down Craners, I sort of edged back towards side by side. And then we come through Craners, Bruce he didn't give much room considering he was on the outside. And the way that corner works, you cambered and you wash naturally. So it was a tiny bit of contact, but he pushed him off, unfortunately.
It was one heck of a battle. We really enjoyed watching that one.
Yeah, he kept us honest. I've obviously got the championship to think about. I want to try and secure second place, so I didn't want to do anything stupid, and I tried to keep the race sort of as clean as I could.
So all in all, pretty happy with your morning's work? I imagine you are.
Yeah, really happy with that. Shame Jason's made it through as well, but well, fair play to him. He's done well to get up to third.
Great stuff, well done.
Thank you.
And let's speak to Jason. Just mentioned there, Jason Ballantyne, and here he is, came third place overall. That was an unusual battle there for you. You were being pushed by David Buki a fair bit as well. And, well, an unusual, unexpected, not unusual podium, but an unexpected podium.
Yeah, I managed to scrape another podium somehow. 8th position on the grid, wasn't really too confident in qualifying, but got another good start, and then washed a bit wide in the first corner. I think there's a few of us pushed out into the grass, made it back up down Craners, and then I was with Bruce for a little while, and then Dave got on the back of us, and then we sort of lost Dan and Bruce, lost that leading pack, but had to defend fairly hard from Dave for most of the race.
It was a great race to watch, well done.
It was a good race, thank you very much.
Good stuff, there you go, well done. Third place there for Jason. So we are about to get going again. You can see the cars going round on their formation lap. They're about to get going, so straight over to our commentator for Track Attack Nippon Challenge. Here he is, Andy McEwan.